Hello everybody and welcome to WLTV. I'm your host, Gary Vaynerchuk, and today's going to be an excellent episode. Today's episode is about the Wine Library TV viewers. That's right, it's all about you today. And what does that mean? That means I'll be tasting two wines and I will be going to the comments section and answering your questions. So, let's talk about that for a minute. The comments section is the place to put questions that you need to ask me. I'm getting a lot of email questions, but from here on out, I'm going to only address questions that are in the comments section. So if you do have a question of any sorts about wine or the specific episode, leave them in the comments section and we will address them the next day. It will be an ongoing segment. Today I'm going to do a bunch of them. That being said, the two wines that I'm doing today are wines that were asked by specific viewers for me to review because they either had it, have had it, or are looking to buy it. So I have two nice wines from California today that I'm excited to try again. I've had both in the past, and let's do that. So, the first wine, Barossa, 2004 Sauvignon Blanc. The 2004 Sauvignon Blanc from Barossa is from Napa Valley. I've had the 03 version of this wine, so I've never had the 04 exactly, but a couple viewers have asked for me to try it, so that's what I'm going to do. Both of these wines were asked by multiple people, 2 on the Barossa and 7 on the red that I'm about to do. Medium color, nothing too amazing, very light in color. A little bit of a lemon zest nose. Kind of reminds me of Sprite on the nose, so that's kind of interesting. Not good. Very alcoholic. Wow. This may be one of the worst wines we've ever tasted on Wine Library TV. I'm glad I hope you waited for me to do it on Wine Library TV before you bought it. If not, send it back right away. This Barossa 04 Sauvignon Blanc is very alcoholic, extremely off balance, not pleasant at all. I still have heat from the alcohol in my... This is like drinking a Grey Goose. I mean, this is really not that good. I'm going to have to score this a 58, 65, something in that realm that you never even think about. Off balance, not corked, not cooked, just a really poor effort from these guys who normally make pretty nice wines. The 03, as a matter of fact, was one of my favorite Sauvignon Blancs, but something went awry here. I'm going to say this is a massive pass, as big as it gets, and all I can say to Jim G, who emailed me, not our Jim Gorman, a different Jim G, I hope you didn't buy it, and if you did, send it back. Let's move on. Wow. Give a little rinse here. This is the 2002 Sonoma Brat Ancestral Cabernet. Big selling wine for us here. A lot of people have asked because we feature it quite a bit. I've always been a big fan of it. We sell, 50, 60, 80 cases a month of this wine. It's become one of our big Cabernet sellers. But a lot of people have never had it because it's such a small producer, and I think it's their first vintage. Pretty sure of that. Really great color. Purple to dark black color. I had about 7 to 8 different people ask me about this wine. There's also a Petrified Forest, which is a level above for a couple bucks more, which I've enjoyed. Great nose. What's really cool about this wine, before I tasted this, I checked on the website and saw there's a little bit of mixed feelings. It looks like 3 people loved it, 1 person didn't like it as much. So hopefully I can come here and break that tie. Great nose though. Starting off great. Really black currant, a little bit of cedar, obvious hints of fruit. Really nice. Medium to full body. Really covers your palate, coats it. What is that black? Reminds me of a dessert in a lot of ways. It's a dry wine, and don't let that make you think that it's a sweet wine. But it's got so much fruit, so much black currant, and so much cherry, kind of, I don't want to say plum. I don't know, it's really black, obvious fruit. You know what's really interesting about this wine, and now I'm really tasting it on the finish? It has an overwhelming taste of black olives on the finish, which I find completely fascinating and very interesting. Really enjoy that. Yeah, this is a winner. This B&S cab is really, really nice. Little picture of a boy and a girl, really sweet. And let's go 91 points on this Sonoma cab. And for the 20 bucks that it charges, it's an absolute bargain in the California Cabernet world. I'm a big fan of this wine. It's a definite thumbs up. Which leads me to the real fun part of the day. I'm going to go into the comments section and answer your questions. So let's get into it right away. Question number 1 comes from Julius. Julius says, I do have a question that goes to the specific wines in the episode. Since Barossa and Brunellos are wines that typically require time to come around, and even Wine Spectator suggests that the wines you tasted are best after 07, 08, and 09, perhaps opening them a day before or decanting them might have made the difference in your evaluation. What do you think? Julius, yesterday's wines were open for about 4 hours. If you remember, we did the Brunellos and the Barolos. And I will tell you that the difference between 4 hours out of the bottle and let's say maybe a decanter for a day is somewhat there. No doubt about it. You definitely will get some more flavors coming through, especially if you decant it on your kitchen counter for a whole day. However, I must tell you that it was pretty obvious to me where those wines were going. The Chachi, for example, somebody commented that it might be in a dummy phase. If you don't know what a dummy phase is, sometimes wines go through years of just tasting blah, no flavor coming through whatsoever. They're just tight, the tannins are covering them. I don't think that was the case with the Chachi. I just don't think there was the structure or the flavor there. It was pretty obvious. Given that I've been basically drinking young wine my entire career, I'm at a place now where I feel that I can evaluate the wines, and 4 hours is definitely at the point where I start feeling the wines are opened up. So to answer your question exactly, yes, maybe, but it was very obvious to me where the flavors and the tannins were on that wine. I don't think another hour. Now again, anything can happen. Wines evolve. Sometimes they need 5-10 years, but that's where I'm at. I don't think there's a humongous difference. Is there a difference? Absolutely. So yes, maybe to answer your question, you're probably right. It could have used an extra day, and I will try some of those wines. I actually still have them open, so I'll probably taste them after this episode. Question number 2. Question number 2 is from Bill Ip. And Bill says, I have always been taught not to rinse the glass with water between tastings. I've been told that the residual water will have more of an altering effect than the other residual wines. Your thoughts? Bill Ip, here are my thoughts. It's all about math, percentages. If there's this much wine left, and the next wine comes in and takes over, and you pour it, and the wine in the glass represents 99.9% of all the liquids in the bottle, whether it's water, whether it's spit, whether it's a different wine, whether it's anything. I really don't think it matters one way or the other. Sometimes I use water, sometimes I use wine. I think you're getting really nitpicky. Yes, there's some aromatic aspects, but the reality is you're talking about 99.9% of the wine is the next glass. I think people get crazy with wine sometimes. I look at wine with heat. Wine is much more resilient than people give it credit for. Sometimes somebody has it in the back of their car for a couple hours and they assume it's cooked. Unless it's extreme heats, most wines can sustain, those kind of temperatures for at least a little bit of a while. Wine deserves more credit. Wine's tougher than we think. And the reality is this, wine that represents 99.9% of the glass or the liquid in the glass is going to be true to the flavors and the wine inside. So here's my answer to that question. I don't care if it's water, wine, spit, juice. I think if there's enough of the new wine, you're going to get the overall characteristics. So whatever makes you happy, whatever's most convenient. Rick MCQ says, Gary, I just went out and bought some blackcurrant jam. It's not bad. I told you, Rick, and now you know when I refer to when I refer to blackcurrant, you'll know exactly the flavors that I'm talking about. So once again, if I'm using flavor profiles in my episodes that you're not aware of, go outside, grab a wet rock, and lick it. You'll know next time what it tastes like. And finally, Kids IMD says, Hey Scott, are you the Scott Stevens from The Devil's fame, or some other Scott? Kids MD, I think it's another Scott. Though, Scott Stevens, when he was with The Devils, was a frequent shopper of the wine library. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the comment section. I really did, and I'll keep answering questions for you in the future. Which leads me to today's question. If you had to be any wine in the world, which wine are you? Which wine most represents your personality? I find myself to be a mix between a Prosecco, bubbly and excited, and sometimes a Zinfandel, a lot of complexity and a lot of thought. Tell me what you are. I'd like to hear it. And we'll see you next time on WLTV.